For my project, I researched Vietnamese political leaders during the war. Vo Nguyen Giap was a Vietnamese politician, a general, and a commander-in-chief of the VNA, or the Vietnam People's Army. During the First Indochina War, he was a commander. Throughout his political life, he brought about influential campaigns and plans such as the Border Campaign, the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, the Tet Offensive, and the Easter Offensive. His most important campaign in his political life was the final Ho Chi Minh Campaign. This led to the fall of Saigon in South Vietnam. Eventually, he became known as one of the most successful leaders of North Vietnam during the war. He continued his political life after the war as a Minister of Defense and a member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh was a man with a lot of power and control. Minh supported communism and went to extreme lengths to promote his views. For 30 years, he traveled to participate in the Communist International. In 1930, he founded the Indochina Communist Party. He founded Viet Minh and was president of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam from 1945 to 1969. In the same year he became president, he also became the prime minister of the DRV. Minh was mainly known by the guerrilla movement that he organized in the 1950s. This movement got the name Viet Cong, and it was in South Vietnam to promote communism. Eventually, Minh's health began to decline, and other political leaders had to step up and take his place. In 1969, at age 79, Minh died. In 1975, after Minh's death, Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam, was captured. The city was renamed after the favored leader Ho Chi Minh. Lê Duan, along with Minh, was one of the men involved in Viet Cong. He believed very strongly that Vietnam should remain unified, and because of his strong views and actions, he was arrested many times. Duan was a founding member of the Indochinese Communist Party. He also helped to create the NLF, which was one of the communist factions in the north. Along with unification, Duan wanted action to occur so that change could take place. He was also a supporter of the Geneva Accords of 1954. The agreement made at the Geneva Conference temporarily separated Vietnam into North and South. The North would be governed by supporters of Viet Minh, and the South would be governed by the state of Vietnam. After all of the advocating he did for his beliefs, he soon had control of the DRV. Duan became a well-known, respectful leader to other politicians. Ho Chi Minh was one of the leaders who knew of Duan, and once he got sick, Duan took over a lot of the executive power that Minh had. By 1969, after Minh's death, Duan became the effective leader of North Vietnam. In 1975, he oversaw the victory over the Republic of Vietnam. Duan's ruling continued until 1986 when he died. Pham Van Dong was a communist leader and prime minister of Vietnam for over 30 years. His interest in politics began at an early age while he was in college. In 1926, he joined the Revolutionary Youth League and studied communist theories. Soon after, he met Ho Chi Minh and they became very close. In 1955, Dong became the prime minister. Him and Ho Chi Minh had a very strong relationship, and when he died, Dong took control of the war in the South. Eventually, the pressure got to him and he resigned from his prime minister position to allow new young leaders to replace him. To continue his life in politics, Dong stayed as an advisor of the Communist Party until he lost his eyesight and eventually died. Nguyen Cao Khai was a leader of South Vietnam. He was vice president and president of the republic. The people loved him, and they believed he was one of the most determined leaders. A few times, his determination got him in trouble. For example, once he threatened to shoot or bomb his political opponents. This got him in trouble because his rough handlings with other politicians became too much. Eventually, he was bumped down to vice president. Ngo Dinh Diem was president of the republic from 1955 to 1963. The United States supported him until aid was sent to him to help fix the relations between the North and the South, but he used it to gain power for himself. Because of his greed for power, South Vietnam's army developed very slowly. Also, instead of hiring experienced officials for his government, he hired family members. Soon, he became extremely disliked and was executed.